Ladies and gentlemen, now we will have a keynote chat with Mr. Manu Kumar Jain, Managing Director, MI India Aeon, Customers First or Revenue First. Let's talk unit economics along with Ms. Ritu Maria, Editor-in-Chief, Entrepreneur Media India and Asia Pacific and Franchise India. Manu spearheads India operations for MI India and leads all aspects of India business. Prior to joining MI India, he co-founded Jabong.com. He has also worked with McKinsey and Company as an engagement manager.
Today we're being joined by Mr. Manu Jain. Mr. Manu Jain, of course, as we all know, is the famous face of MI in India. He's the managing director of MI India, and under his leadership, Xiaomi and Mi has seen some of the biggest expansion in the country, and probably he's made the value category smartphone one of the best seller in the country. And we love to hear from him now about how he's managed to bring this growth in India and what is it that he captured about the value growth market of India that existed, as we'll also talk to him about it later, and how today as startups who are growing and increasing their business, they should too be looking at some strategies to understand Bharat and India together for growth. So I leave it to you, Mr. Jain, to share some thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, Ritu. It's a great pleasure to be here with this on this great platform. I will maybe take a few minutes and tell you about our journey in India,
Sure.
Who we are, what do we do, and what we've been able to achieve in the last 6-7 years. So as an introduction, I am Manu. I lead Xiaomi's business or MI's business in India. It's a very interesting company, very interesting startup, started only about 10 years ago. And it's surprising that a lot of people do not know about it. So I'll just maybe talk a little bit about how we have grown over the last 10 years, what has been our journey in India for the last 6-7 years, and some of the big learnings that we have had. So let me start. Okay, so this is a quick introduction. So I'm a Group VP or a Global VP at Xiaomi and MD of India region. Let me start by asking this question. It's surprising we have been the #1 brand in the country for close to 4 years now, #1 smartphone brand. And still a lot of people do not know how to pronounce a name because they just see a logo and they say MI or me. So I want to tell all the audience today watching us live that the easiest way to pronounce the word Xiaomi is, it's pronounced as Xiaomi, it's not Xiaomi or Xiaomi. And the easiest way to remember this is just think of show me the money and make it short and that becomes Xiaomi. Our logo is MI, which means mobile internet. And the vision of the company when we started was to change the way people consume internet or content on a small little mobile device. And that's why the logo is MI. It's a young startup, started only in 2010, started with a vision statement of innovation for everyone. 10 years ago, when products were being launched, you had to pay a huge amount of money for buying high quality products. And whenever you compromise on the price, you also had to compromise on quality. So the founder's vision was that there are so many people, billions of people in the world who want to access great technology, great quality products, but they cannot afford to do it. And hence, innovation for everyone, that innovation should be available to everybody. And hence, every time we launch a product, there are 3 things that we ensure. It needs to be innovative, which means it needs to have the best specs. It needs to have the highest possible quality, and it needs to have honest price. And honest price does not mean the lowest possible price. It just means it's a price at which we do not make a lot of profit margin. We try and cut down costs like marketing, distribution, many other costs, and we pass it on to users almost at cost. And that's what we call as honest pricing. Today, thanks to this philosophy, we are the 3rd largest smartphone maker in the world and probably one of the fastest growing one. We're the world's largest consumer IoT platform, and we're also a Fortune 500 company. Now, in just 10 years since the company started in 2010, we have now become a Fortune 500 company. This is how we have grown. In just 9 years, in 2019, we became a Fortune 500 company. And last year, 2020, in the middle of pandemic, we further grew and we were ranked as the 422nd largest company in the world. We're also one of the most futuristic looking companies. So Fortune says if you have 50 companies that you have to look out for in future, Xiaomi should be one of them. In fact, we are rated as number 7. And BCG says we are one of the most innovative companies in the world. and also one of the biggest brands, one of the top 100 brands in the world. Now, most of the people know us as a smartphone brand. We are, of course, a smartphone brand, the third largest in the world, but we're also the world's largest consumer IoT platform with around 300 million, which is 30 crore connected IoT devices. Now, what are these devices? These are devices such as smart scooters, smart cycles, smart robo vacuum cleaner, smart shoes, smart light, smart fan, and bunch of other devices that we have. And all of these devices are connected to one single thing, which is a smartphone. And the aim is that in few years down the line, anything and everything that you see around yourself, we should be able to make it connected, and we should be able to connect it to smartphone. 2 years ago, we had a great event when we went public in Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And just before we went public, we made a very important announcement that forever, starting 2018, we will never ever make more than 5% profit margin on any Xiaomi hardware device. Now, this is really incredible because most of the companies have a lower cap on profit margin. They will not make less than 5%, less than 10% profit margin. As far as I know, we're the only company in the world which is saying that we will not make more than 5% margin. So we are capping our profits, we're capping our greed. And the philosophy is very simple, that our fans, our consumers are friends, and we do not want to overcharge them on any of the product, and hence we will make less than 5% profit margin. And this is something which has been working really well. Not only our business is growing, but also if you look at our share price, the market cap has been growing. In fact, end of last year, we hit $100 billion, approximately $100 billion market cap. Now, if you look at our India business, which is Xiaomi India, started only 6 years ago. Now almost maybe by the middle of this year, we will be 7-year-old, started in July 2014. And it started from a small little office, one single room where only about 6 people could sit. This was the first office. It was one room. Initially, I was the only team member. Then our first team member joined, and then slowly and gradually, team started building on. When we were launching these products, the first set of products, you won't believe it, but there were 300 smartphone brands in the country, more than 300. And every time we used to go to and talk to an expert, a technology expert or a smartphone expert, they would say Xiaomi or MI can never succeed in India. And there were simple reasons. They said, first, you're planning to go online on Flipkart and Amazon, while the way to sell smartphones is you should go offline, sell through lakhs of shops. Second, the way to sell smartphones is you spend millions of dollars in marketing and in TV advertising every single month, while we were planning to spend almost zero marketing dollars. And third, people said, nobody even know your name. How do you pronounce your name, which is Xiaomi MI? So why will somebody come and buy your product? And we were also nervous. We didn't know why should somebody come and buy a Xiaomi phone. So the first one that we launched is Mi 3 that you see here on the screen. And we were very nervous. We said, okay, we will bring 10,000 units of Mi 3. And now why 10,000? We could have brought 5,000, 20,000, 50,000. The reason was very simple. We went to the only measurable parameter that we had, which was a Facebook page. And our Facebook page had 10,000 followers at that point of time. So we said, oh my God, so at least 10,000 people know about Xiaomi, about our phones. So the aim is to find each of these 10,000 people and sell them one phone each. So that's how we started by bringing in 10,000 phones. The first sale was on a partner of Flipkart. And this is what happened on the first day of the sale. Flipkart crashed for the first time in the history of Flipkart. About 500,000 people turned up, and then rest is history. Slowly and gradually, we started building a business by bringing more number of phones from 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 40, 50,000, and a lot more. Then started launching many more product categories like wearables, power banks, smart TVs, smart watches, and a lot more. Today, we are probably the most loved technology brand. And the reason I say this is because we are number one across multiple product categories. We are number one smartphone brand, number one smart TV brand, number one fitness wearable like smartwatches and fitness band, and number one power bank brand. And across many other product categories like laptops and others, we are doing exceedingly well. On phones, which is our biggest business, we have been now number one for more than 3 years, since Q3 2017 till Q4 2020. For 3.5 years, we've been the number one brand. And in the online segment where we started off, we have more than 40% market share. It keeps changing between 40 and 50%, which means approximately 1 out of 2 people who buy a phone online, either on Flipkart or on Amazon or any other platform, 1 out of 2 is a Xiaomi customer. Last year, 2020 was very tough for us, incredibly tough. But even during this period, we were able to improve our strength of our brand in the country, and we were rated as the most trusted smartphone brand and the second most trusted brand across all product categories by this brand trust report, which measures how much do people trust this particular brand. So we leapfrog from being number 47 to being number 2 in the country and number 1 in the smartphone category. 2 years ago, almost now 3 years ago, we launched a new product category called as smart TVs. At that point of time, smart TVs used to be very, very small, just about 15% of the market. Today, they are more than 55% of the market. And within the smart TV category, now we've been number 1 for 10 consecutive quarters. Just yesterday, we launched a brand new smart TV across various sizes like 50, 55, and 65 inches. And then we have been, of course, the largest one in the fitness wearable or the smart wearable category with more than 50% market share across fitness band and smartwatches. Now, while we've been launching a lot of these products, even on the retail side of our business, which is how do we sell them, we've been making huge amount of innovation. We started selling through Flipkart, then our partner Amazon, and then we started selling through our own e-commerce platform, me.com, which is now the third largest e-commerce platform in the country when it comes to GMV or revenue, or when it comes to the electronic sales such as smartphones. This is the latest or the last Counterpoint report about the platform share. It says Amazon contributes about 47% of the smartphones sold in the country across all brands. Flipkart contributes about 42%, and me.com contributes about 10%. And everything else, all other websites, all other single brand, multi-brand e-commerce platform combined together is about 1%. Now, for the first 3 years, from 2014 till 17, we were mainly online heavy. We were selling everything through the e-commerce platforms. And then it was very funny because we were already at 40-50% market share in online, but we had 0% market share in offline. And we used to always wonder, why is it that people, when they go online, everybody wants to buy a Xiaomi phone, but when they go offline, nobody wants to buy a Xiaomi phone. So with that in mind, 3 years ago, we launched a first physical store in the country. This was in Bengaluru, in Phoenix Market City Mall. And this store is actually located in the lower ground floor or the basement. And I remember meeting the owner of this mall, or the manager of this mall, and they said, Manu, Xiaomi is an online heavy brand. It will never succeed in offline. So you're making a mistake. And so we will never give you a space on the ground floor. Finally, we gave up. We took this place in the low ground floor. And this was a 600 square feet shop. The mall manager said, Manu, even if 100 people turn up on the first day of your launch, you should consider yourself to be lucky. A little bit more than 100 people turned up. Actually, a lot more than 100 people. More than 10,000 people turned up. And then that one single day in that 600 square feet shop, we did a revenue of more than 5 crore rupees. I'm sure this must be some sort of a world record or Guinness World Record. My only regret from that day is that we did not file for a Guinness World Record. Otherwise, we should have definitely won it. Next time we were smarter. Then when we were expanding these exclusive stores, we opened 500 stores in one single day during Diwali of 2018. And this time we were a little bit smarter, so we applied for Guinness World Record, and we did get a Guinness record for opening more than 500 stores simultaneously on one day at the same time. And then soon we crossed 2,500 exclusive stores across the country. Today we have more than 3,000 exclusive stores, and we're the largest exclusive network in the country. And not just across smartphones, but across all product categories, including coffee, pizza, shoes, anything. We're almost 50% bigger than CCD, Cafe Coffee Day, the largest coffee chain in the country. We're 100% bigger than Domino's, which is the largest pizza chain in the country, and more than 100% bigger than Bata, which is the largest shoe chain in the country, exclusive retail chain. So these are all the great products that we've been launching over the last few years and how we've been selling. But one of the biggest pillars for us has been a quality. So of course, for last few years, now in 2019, again in 2020, we have been rated as the highest quality smartphone brand by Red Quanta. And we're the only brand in the country which has been certified both ISO 9001 and 14001. Now, a lot of people ask this question that, Manu, how come you've been extremely successful? So there are a few things that I would want to talk about, what we have done differently over the last 5-6 years. One is, of course, the focus on our localization, how we build products in India for India. Second, I would want to talk about our way of marketing. And third, I would want to talk about the way that we build teams. So starting with the first one, which is how we build products in India for India and a focus on Make in India program. Now, this is something that we're really passionate about. About 5 years ago, we started our Make in India journey when we said we have to build products in India for India. We have to customize these phones for India. Some of these phones have been exclusively designed for India, and we have to make them in India. And then we started manufacturing. Initially, we started manufacturing with Foxconn. They opened up a manufacturing plant in Andhra Pradesh, then Tamil Nadu, and then Flex, our another partner, opened a new manufacturing plant in Tamil Nadu. In fact, recently we also announced 2 new manufacturing plants with our partners BYD and DBG. And today, across all these plants, we can produce more than 3 phones every single second. So every single second, 3 phones get produced across all these multiple manufacturing plants. And today, almost all our phones are made in India, and a significant number of components like PCBA, motherboard, daughter board, charger, cables, a lot of these products are either locally sourced, locally procured, or locally assembled in India. So we're truly localizing the products here in the country. Across all these phone factories, we have 30,000 people working. And what makes me really, really proud is that majority of them, more than 90% of them, are women. These are women who are working, who come from nearby towns, villages, and they wanted to become independent, but they didn't have a platform. And now they're working in our factories and they've become so confident and they're supporting their entire families. And really happy to be driving this effort. 2 years ago, we also started manufacturing TVs in India with a partner, Dixon. It started a local manufacturing plant. And now today, 100% of our TVs that we sell in India are made in India. This is like 2 years ago when we were invited to Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi's residence. We got a chance to meet him for an hour and we discussed our Make in India effort and how we are trying to totally localize almost every single thing that we are selling in the country. So that's the first thing that we're really proud of, that in a short period of time, we've been able to localize almost every single thing. Majority of components, all our phones, all our TVs, and we've been able to generate employment for more than 30,000 people working in our factories. The second important and very weird thing or crazy thing is that we became #1 in the country with spending almost zero marketing dollars. I'm sure this must be some sort of a case study that we overtook the big giants. When we started our business, there were 300 smartphone brands, and we were probably the smallest one and with the least marketing resources. And yet, we became the largest smartphone brand in a short period of time without spending marketing dollars. So, what is our way of marketing, and why are we so successful? I would say the most important thing in today's world, in today's new age world, when everybody has access to information, people are online, people are on social media, people are on watching content, movies, OTT content, reading blogs, reading reviews. One of the most important things that any entrepreneur, that any startup needs to do, that we have also focused on, is product. Now, for us would be MBAs. We would know the famous 4 P's of marketing, which is product, price, promotion, and place. These are the 4 things. If they go well, you will be successful. But in today's world, I genuinely think there's 1 P which is a lot more important than other 4 P's, and that is the product. If your product is really great, actually you don't need to worry about other 3 things. The most important thing is product. If the product is not good in today's world, then of course you can spend tons of money in marketing and promotion, or you can have a great place, but still it will not sell. So this is something that we've really focused on building great quality products. For example, this is a phone that we launched about a year ago, a concept phone, where we said we will have a screen on both the sides, on the front side as well as the back side. And this was truly path-breaking because nobody had ever thought of a phone like this. And a lot of our premium Mi series phones that we have launched have been truly path-breaking, each one of them. This was also the world's first phone with 108 megapixel, and since then we've launched 5 or 6 phones with 108 megapixel. We were probably one of the first few ones. And in India itself, we've launched already 4 phones with 108 megapixel, which is almost as good as DSLR. A few months ago, we also launched another great product, which is a Mi TV Luxury Edition. It is a completely transparent TV, something that you could have never imagined. And if you're standing behind the TV, you can actually see what is behind it. So it's truly amazing the way that we are innovating on products across all our categories, whether it is smartphones, smart TVs, smart watches, and a lot more. The second way of our marketing is through our fans. So we call our consumers as fans, people who really love us. And if you really think about this, smartphone buying today is a social phenomenon. People who want to buy smartphones, they would go and ask somebody, hey, I'm planning to buy this phone. My budget is 15,000 rupees. Which phone should I buy? Or my budget is 20,000 rupees. Or my use case is camera. Or my use case is gaming. Which phone would you recommend and why? And we've been able to cultivate this army of young, passionate people that we call as Me fans. People who are our brand ambassadors and people who would be our advocates. For the first 3 years, we literally spent zero marketing dollars. We didn't have any brand ambassador. We didn't have any movie star, no cricket star endorsing our brand. But we had all these people talking about Xiaomi, and that's why probably we became number one. We today have Me fan clubs across all big cities and all big states. And we encourage them to meet very frequently and talk about Xiaomi. So that's the second big thing why I believe we are fairly successful. And the last point I would say is just the team. We have an incredible team. You won't believe, but the average age of the team is less than 30. And many of our leaders are in early 30s or mid 30s. In fact, I'm considered to be one of the oldies in the company. I just turned 40. And a lot of people come and tell me that, Manu, you are too old. You don't know what is happening in today's young crowd. And one of the most interesting thing about the team is that many of our leaders, in fact, majority of the leaders, they do not come from smartphone background. I myself do not come from smartphone background. I used to be the co-founder of an internet company called as Jabong. And the person who is our India COO, Murli, he was a India head or India MD of eBay. Our Indian CBO, Raghu, used to be sales director at Snapdeal. The person who heads a Redmi business, Sneha, she used to be a chartered accountant, then joined us to head our online sales, and now she heads the Redmi business. Vivek, who leads a Me brand in India, he came from BCG, and then he was my chief of staff before he moved on to the Me brand. And there's so many such examples. Now, the interesting thing is because all of us do not come from smartphone background, we actually do not carry that baggage. That this is how things are done. Yeah, ऐसे ही होता है. And hence we're willing to take risk. We're willing to try out new things, and that's what keeps our brand very peppy, very alive. And we're always experimenting, always trying to do new things. So these are the three things that I believe have really worked well for us, and I hope you will find them useful. One, customizing products, building them in India for India. Second, not spending any money on marketing. I know it's tough, but we have actually been able to do it. And leveraging the power of fans and leveraging the power of our products. And third, building a really great team that does not come with any relevant background, but are just young, passionate, and willing to take risks. So that's a little bit about Xiaomi overall and Xiaomi in India. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, please.
This is a fantastic journey, Manu, and I mean, you know how you've built Xiaomi from ground up in India and seen that miracle of growth happen in a country as large in India is really fantastic to see. So, you know, I mean, you mentioned that that you started as actually as a D2C company, a digital first company when it came to sales, but later on, you know, you built up the entire physical offline presence bit. Now today, a lot of startups are looking to do that. You know, particularly we see that these new CPG brands and new FMCG and across board, you know, whether it's organic or gadgets, so many different categories. What do you think are what were the challenges that you faced when you were doing this? And you know, what is it that, or how can they overcome the fear? You know, now online looks like a very familiar space. It's also something that is easy probably in some sense for a lot of young startup founders to do. But when it comes to the physical space, it looks overwhelming. It looks too large to capture. So what is it that they should know and not do wrong? And I'm sure, you know, when you were building it up, there were some errors. So what would you want to tell them to avoid to get their their strategy right?
Sure. So first thing I would say, it is true. Building a brand online, I would say, is a little bit easier and faster, because just think about it, right? If you're selling through your own e-commerce platform, like in our case, me.com, or if you're partnering with Amazon or Flipkart, you can probably reach millions of users at one go, and you can reach everybody from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Northeast to Rajasthan, every place you can cover. in a very short period of time. While if you have to build physical infrastructure, it requires a lot more time and effort, right? And investment. So building a brand online is definitely easier and faster. And that's why we also leverage it. And sometimes it can be even more cost efficient, depending upon which product category it is, right? So building offline or physical infrastructure is definitely tougher. It was also tough for us. Now, when I told this story, I told you how successful our offline journey was. But I didn't tell you that in beginning we struggled. For 6 months, it was a huge struggle because, in fact, first time when we started before that store, it didn't work well. And the reason it didn't work well because we were trying to do what others were doing. So if you look at the traditional offline business for other brands, other smartphone brands, they go and sell through lakhs of shops across the country. And they give out very huge margin. They spend a lot of money on advertising. They have promoters. They have multi-level distribution. And we didn't have any of these things. So when we tried to copy them, it didn't work well for us. So 6 months we struggled. And then we said, if we have to win in offline, we have to be true to who we are. We have to cut down all the cost and we have to be super efficient. So we redefined, we said we will build our own stores, which are either Coco or Foco stores, but these will be only Xiaomi stores. They will be Xiaomi branded and there will be no level of distribution or maximum one level of distribution between us and these stores. And we will use technology so that the inventory required in the store is very less and the rotation is very fast and hence the ROI of the store is pretty high. So we try to leverage a lot of things from our online learning to building offline. First 6 months was a disaster. Next 1 year, we basically perfected the business model. But once we perfected this business model, and then we scaled up really fast. As you remember, like I said, we opened 500 stores in one single day.
Yeah.
But after 1.5 years of our effort and hard work, 6 months of failure and 1 year of experimenting. Then when we were confident, then we just pushed the pedal and we said, now is the time to expand. And now today we have 3,000 plus exclusive stores. So my advice to anybody would be, you should know if you are starting online, it's of course easier. If you're going offline, if you're opening brick and mortar stores, it's definitely tougher, require more investment. You should not try and do what others are doing. It didn't work for us. So it may or may not work for you also, what others are doing. Depending upon your product category, depending upon what you are trying to sell and how you are trying to sell, start small, start with 1 or 2 stores, perfect the business model, and then expand further.
Sure. And particularly when you are thinking of offline development, now how do you work out the economics? Do you look at the customer first, the profit, or the store economics first, or the channel partner first, or as a group first? How do you sort of plan the entire trajectory of offline growth in that sense?
I read this book about McDonald's, and I can't think of a better example than McDonald's. There's also a movie that has been made on the McDonald's founder, right? On how he helped build really probably one of the best franchisee operations in the world. Because whether you go to McDonald's in India or in Southeast Asia or in China or in Europe, you get a very familiar, very standardized approach of working, right? And how he went about doing this. And one thing which I still remember from that, he said, when I was looking for franchisees, my first mistake that I did was I looked for people who were big investors and that bought because they were not really hungry, they were not passionate enough. And then he changed the model and he basically started looking for people who were from like lower middle class or middle class, but they would put their sweat and blood in making that franchisee or that store operation successful. So we have something similar. You'll be surprised to know out of the 3,000 franchisee partners that we have across the country, very few come from actually smartphone background or any retail background. So we just go to Me Fans, people who really love us, and we tell them, hey, are you interested to open up a shop? And if they're keen, if they're wanting to open up a shop or wanting to become an entrepreneur, we support them. So we provide a support of few lakh rupees per store in terms of furniture, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of outdoor holding, etc. And then laptop, internet connection. Of course, the partner also needs to bring in some bare minimum capital from his side. And then we have standardized guidelines that we ask a partner to operate. We provide the ID system, we provide everything to the partner. The key thing from our side is every store ideally should be profitable and should be making money. Because this is store by store economics. Even if like as a company we are making money, but if the stores are not making money, eventually this business will not succeed. So we need to ensure that by and large, every single store should be profitable, should be generating positive ROI for our partner. And usually what we have seen that more than 95% of our stores become profitable, start making positive ROI within 3 months. Of course, there are like some 5% stores which take a little bit longer. But as long as majority of our stores are making money very quickly for our partners, it is a win-win. Partner will be happy, we will be happy.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's how, I mean, like, the story has been, and of course, looking at it, so many other ones also in the entire franchise industry. I mean, I remember in the pre-pandemic, just I think maybe a year before the lockdown happened, you also did this one big experience store. Where you had entire range, or at least majority of the range of products that you do. So, are you planning to do more of those stores? Planning to open more of where we can see the entire sort of the product and the merchandise that comes under MI today?
Yes, so we opened 3 of those. The biggest one is in Bengaluru, in Indranagar, and then we opened 2 more, one in Delhi, in Connaught Place, and one in Chennai. Now, we had to take a little bit of pause because of COVID pandemic. It's difficult right now.
Sure.
But maybe once the situation improves in next 6 months or 1 year, why not? We would be open to launching a lot more products in India. And we would definitely love to showcase these products, even the ones which have not been launched in India, to our India Me fans. And that's a great way for us to also collect feedback, because when Me fans walk into these stores, like they tell us, hey, why don't you bring a Ninebot scooter? Hey, why don't you bring this cycle? Why don't you bring this, I don't know, like smart AC, smart washing machine? So it's also a mechanism for us to take feedback from them and then decide what product to launch in future and which one not to launch.
And are you doing all these products online? I mean, all these products are available currently online, or not yet?
So our entire product catalog is available across me.com, 100% of it, which is our e-com. It's available across all our stores, which are company-operated stores, which are called as Me Home stores, which are slightly bigger in size. We have more than 100 such stores across the country. And then we have 3,000 franchisee stores, which are Me stores.
Sure.
And then we also work with partners like Flipkart, Amazon. And then we have Me Preferred partners, which are non-exclusive stores. So on each of these stores, typically on our me.com and Me Home, you will find 100% of the products which have been launched in India. Me stores, you will find majority of the products. Maybe some of the products, if they are space constrained, because some of the franchisee stores are smaller in size. So suppose if you have a smart water purifier, they may not have it because of space constraint. But otherwise, majority of by and large, 80-90% of the portfolio will be available on franchisee stores. And then on Amazon, Flipkart, and our third-party stores such as Me Preferred partners, they pick and choose. So something would be available on one particular platform or one partner. Another thing would be available on another partner. For example, a seller on Flipkart may decide to sell a particular product, say laptop, but not other things. Another seller on Amazon may decide to sell, or maybe I'm just making it up, say shoes, but not masks. We also have like masks, which are very popular. But some sellers may not decide to buy or sell any of these things on Flipkart, Amazon, or third-party stores. But all of these things will be definitely available on me.com, Me Home stores, and majority of Me stores.
Sure, no, that's very interesting, and I know it's only going to get more fun. I mean, tell me, do you also? I mean, now of course, now that the group is so large, do you also look to tie with startups who have some innovative products, which may be non-core for you, but very interesting otherwise to come under the MI from a private label perspective, or just maybe wanting to sell something outside the MI brand within the store?
Of course, yes. We are a huge believer. We ourselves are a startup, right? Don't forget, it is a 10-year-old company, right? We're actually younger than many of the startups. It's funny, like it's actually true. Like if you meet a lot of startups, they started 15 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago. We're also just 10-year-old, right?
Sure.
So one of the most interesting thing that you'll be surprised with is the fact that I spoke about hundreds of products that we have, physical products. Now, only 4 or 5 of these products are end-to-end designed by Xiaomi. What are these products? Smartphones, smart TVs, laptops, routers, and now watches. These are the products which are end-to-end designed, everything in-house by Xiaomi. Everything else is designed by one of our startups. So we have investments in close to 400 companies, 400 startups across the world.
That's great.
In India, we have investments in more than 10, 15 startups. And Out of these, there are about 280 companies that we call as ecosystem or IoT companies. These are companies that we incubated, or we found somebody very young, and they designed these products along with us. For example, a fitness band is designed by a separate company, and our shoes are designed by a separate company. A washing machine is designed by a separate company, but our product managers sit along with them and co-design and ensure that all these products work with one single IoT platform, which is the Mi Home app. So it's a very interesting model that we have like hundreds of companies working along within the Xiaomi umbrella. And if more number of startups want to work with us, we would love to work with them. In India, we've already partnered with many other companies or startups or other companies. For example, we work with a company called as Bobble, which is a startup based out of NCR, Delhi NCR. And we have a keyboard called as Mint Keyboard, which is there on our phones, that has been co-developed between Xiaomi and Bobble. We invested in a company called as Hungama. I used to sit on the board of the company earlier, and our Mi Music app is powered by Hungama. So all the Mi Music content actually comes from Hungama. Even on our smart TV, we have few lakh hours of content available on our TV, and a significant part of that content, not all, but a significant part, comes from Hungama. So we are partnering with many startups in the country. So if any startup wants to work with us on hardware products, on software products, we would love to work with them. Please do reach out to me.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. And I mean, particularly, while we've seen a big wave of software startups, but hardware startups are still something I would at least like to personally see in India growing much bigger and larger. And I think working with brand like yours and getting your insights and knowledge would be very interesting for them and be able to grow fast. So great, Manu. It's been great talking to you. We also have the Startup Awards, which is we're going to announce. So any message you have for the young startups who are going to be winning today and also largely looking to grow bigger?
I would say, first of all, congratulations to everyone who have won today. From my 2 past experiences of starting and running Jabong and then starting Xiaomi's business in India, I know how hard it can be, especially during the first few years when the company is just starting off. Sometimes you do not even know whether you're going in the right direction or not. You just keep fighting on a daily basis without knowing what the impact would be, just hoping for the best. But it is that perseverance, it is that hard work which really pays off from a long-term perspective. So do not have any kind of self-doubt about yourself. I know it's pretty tough job. And as a startup founder, as a CEO, you need to do almost everything.